Good morning. We are back to doing this garden tour. We were going to say this is tomorrow or the next day. It turns out it's been a few days. We got the jointer in, which was great. We got it set up, fantastic. And then we had the whole garage flood, not fantastic. So it's been a minute. So now we're going back to the tour. It has just been a few days though. So we're excited to get going. So the first thing we have here are the butterfly Japanese maples. So the butterflies have a white and green variegation. Earlier in the year, if you remember, they tend to be very, very white for us. Now they have lost a little bit more than half their leaves, and they are not so white anymore.
I mean, they kind of are. They're just looking really crispy and dry.
Well, you could see up here, like, you know, it's lost a lot of the leaves that it had. It's normally very dense. It's lost a whole bunch of its leaves.
But they do this every year, though.
But here's a good, like, healthy looking section of them.
It's in the shade, though.
Ooh.
There you go.
Okay. So, I mean, that's healthy-ish. There was not water running to these. So we did run water to some of these things. These butterflies have not gotten much water throughout the summer, though, so far. And we'll just continue on our tour. So these are two of our Camellia air layers and a hydrangea. So this is a hydrangea that we got from someone else that we just stuck it in the ground and it came up. And these are some of the Camellia air layers.
So these are a bit too close together. This hydrangea kind of went bonkers finally this year.
Right, it really took off this year. So it's had about 2 feet of growth, pretty much in every direction.
And it's blooming, which we were saying it wasn't blooming, and we thought we might need to move it out of the shade because it wasn't blooming, and now it is a little bit.
Right, so we may end up moving these camellias either out more or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's way too tight.
Let's keep on going. So this is just a Japanese maple seedling, which just means it was a random Japanese maple. It's gotten much bigger, and you can see it's grown here. Usually it's the last little node that you can see. So on the most, it's about a little bit under 2 feet or so.
And a lot of trees up here have like kind of grown in a little bit because this was clearly at the edge of the woods before. It's leaning out, so maybe we need to clean up a little bit, give it a little bit more breathing space behind.
Here is our Tamukiyama and some weeds. This is the stilt grass that we've been dealing with. It keeps on coming back.
Oh, this.
If you don't know the Japanese stilt grass, which is this stuff right down here,
yep,
that really likes to come back. But this is a Tamukiyama graft that we did.
Yeah.
And we set up this graft right here. You can see the graft mark.
Oh.
And
it's a high graft.
Yeah, it's a high graft, so it's right there.
There you go. There's the graft.
So this is a Tamukiyama.
It is probably in the ground. I think yeah, it is in the ground right
Yeah,
now.
the roots have gone through the pot, which is why we haven't moved it. We probably need to move it this fall, but it's getting to be actually a sizable tree. It looks like this year it's put out, I mean, about 14 inches of growth or so, a little bit more than a foot. So that's pretty exciting. This is the Geisha Gone Wild. So the Geisha Gone Wild Japanese maple, it leaves out extremely fuchsia or pink. Don't mind me while I get a few weeds and things off of it. This is muscadine.
The variegation in the leaf, it's green on green instead of like pink, magenta in the spring. So it's still really cool close up, but it is definitely green.
Well, and in some zones, like if you're in a cooler zone, zone 5, zone 6, the Geisha Gone Wild might actually retain its pink variegation or fuchsia variegation. It may retain it longer than it does here. Right now we're on, I believe now we're on August 1st or 2nd. And this is what we're stuck with for the rest of the year. It really stays like this for the majority of the year. It gets the really neat color for about 2 weeks, and then it goes to this.
Yeah, and this one in the spring is magenta right when it comes out, and then transitioning from spring to fall is kind of this like soft, dusty rose pink, unlike the one that's farther in the backyard, which stays more magenta.
Well, and if you go over here,
yep,
here's behind here. So there's a few Joro spiders in the way. I won't do anything to get to them. But you can see we have a whole row of Camellia, Japanese maple, Camellia. So you can see more of the Camellia line back here. This is what's behind all of our Japanese maples. And the idea here is that in the winter, here, I'll come back here. The idea there is that in the winter, when these Japanese maples lose their leaves, there's a row of camellias behind to keep us a good layer of privacy. It also lets there be flowers in February or so, sometimes January.
Yeah, so right now you really can't see them. And it's kind of quite amazing how much you can see past these Japanese maples when they don't have any leaves back to the camellias behind them.
All right, so moving on. These are some more camellias that we have that just didn't do so well. So we still need to plant them somewhere.
Yeah, this is our
And a couple
remaining
over there.
stuff in pots also. It looks a little bit neglected and weedy.
Oh, here, but let me show this one. This is exciting.
Trees in there.
Look at this. It's summer gold.
Summer gold.
So this is a summer gold. Oh, it has a nest in it. Bird nest. So
Oh,
this
neat.
is a summer gold. This is the most shaded summer gold that we have. And it is growing, guys. Like, I guess it pushed out another, about a foot, a little bit less, somewhere around there. It's that growth right here. So it's pushed out a lot of growth this year, though. Overall, it's becoming a much bigger tree. We might eventually take away some of these lower branches here, but for now we'll leave them. But overall, this is doing really, really well. It is a different color than all of the rest of the Japanese maples in this area, even during the summer, even though it doesn't get much light. It gets maybe about 2 hours of sun here.
So you can kind of see it compared to just some Japanese maple seedlings behind, which are much darker green and less chartreuse.
You want to trade?
Sure.
Okay, trading.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that is much brighter than
Yeah, look
than
how
the
much
background.
brighter that is. We do have a bird's nest. Yay. Okay, so summer gold, seedling, which is huge. It's really hard to tell if you don't come over here and stand next to them. This
Well,
is
and that's the one that
crazy.
turned orange last year.
Yeah, this is the one that has a really nice orange fall color. All right, so this is a Japanese maple seedling, which means that it's not a clone or a graft or anything. It's just a seedling. It's just really basic green, but this one turns a nice fiery orange in the fall, like really, really pretty. We had this lower branch down here where we were able to see the nice orange color from like human eyesight looking down. But now this branch is kind of coming down and gotten bigger. So maybe we can get rid of that one that's
Right, we
almost
may have to-
touching the floor.
We may have to air layer off. Anna's talking about this branch here. We may have to air layer that one off even, because if it's not getting enough light, the tree will prune it out naturally.
And actually, it's got the tag on that branch, so you know that's going to be the next one to go.
That is how it usually
That's
goes.
how it works. So this one, and really, really has shot off, really, really big. More seedling Japanese maples, and if you come over here and look back here, you can see a couple of our camellias that we've planted back there, and a dead tree in a pot that we need to get rid of.
Well, and back behind them there, it's kind of hard to see, is the ukigumo, Japanese
like
maple.
way, like
Yeah.
Camellia, Ukigumo, which was
And
in
let me
the
see.
corner.
We can't even see you. There you go.
Wait, like right there.
Right there. Back there. Back there. There you go. Okay.
So, hostas.
Do you know what kind of hostas those are?
Those are blue angels, which I believe, I think they've lost all their kind of wax. They're not very blue. And then I don't remember what this one is. I had tags.
I want
the
to say that's a
tags
guacamole.
Could.
Am I wrong?
I haven't thought about the I haven't thought about the hosta names in so long that I would have been able to tell you a couple of years ago. And
All right, and then we just have more seedlings here.
Yep.
More camellias behind.
so our
Oh,
annual leaf drop on this guy. This is
the Hagoromo.
Hagoromo. This is Hanazu. Hagoromo, it looks like this every summer here. I think it just doesn't like the southern humidity and heat.
Here, let me show it up close.
It does a leaf drop every year so far. I mean, we bought it as a graveyard, like this one's struggling in the first place, but it really hasn't bounced back. Maybe
Well,
next
every year it does have a little bit of new growth, so that's what's happening there. But it just struggles every single year.
There's a branch I need to take out of that right there. That's
And then here's a camellia doing just fine.
yeah. This is an air layer from my mom. Look at that cool variegation in the leaves over there. And then we've got a line of
Yeah, these are new azaleas that we planted. Here, let me show them.
Okay.
So this is the new azaleas. Do you know what kind these are?
There is a tag. These were kind of clearance guys. These are Autumn Majesty, kind of a purple double. And I think that's these three. And then we have one odd one that's different. That is Autumn Lilac. So not a double, but also kind of purpley magenta.
Well, and so these azaleas, Anna did say we got them with clearance. I think they were like $1 or $2
Yeah,
each. They were really, really cheap.
So.
All right.
Yeah.
Here, continuing on.
So that is our Hub's Red Willow over here. And our Scolopendrifolium. And Scolopendrifolium is kind of a yellow in the fall.
Here, let me come around to this angle so we can all see a
But
little
look,
better.
this is new growth this year, and it doesn't look anything like the way the leaves should look.
Well, that's normal for new growth sometimes.
Yeah, I know. So that's normal for new growth. We'll see next year. We'll just monitor it and see if this is still all pencily looking and thin.
Well, and here, trade with me because I pruned this a little bit this year.
Okay, and this is Hubs. It's red, but not really red right now.
All right, so this Hubs of red willow. You're right. It was. Both of these aren't doing the best over here, and we lost hydrangea right here. This is a little honey hydrangea. Right now, this is just the thorn that has taken over.
Right. So we have 3 here, and now we have.
So the little hydrangea died. Things in this area, I have to be really careful because there's thorns on this potato vine. There you go. That's a little better. Anyway, so what I wanted to point out, so this guy, he lost a lot of his inner branching, which makes sense. There's only about an hour to 2 of sun over here for direct sun. And you can see he's losing his inner branching, but he seems to be pushing out up top, which is fine.
That's the Hubs.
So I basically cleared out any of the dead branches or branches that weren't doing well.
I'm going to come over here to see a little bit better what you're talking about.
This is the Hubs red willow. I took out a lot of the inner growth here that just wasn't doing well because it was getting too much shade. And so it's a little bit more growing outward and upward. And then this Scolopendrifolium, it lost its leader up there earlier last year. We think it may have been due to frost damage. We're not really sure. But it had a leader right there towards the middle. And so what it's done is pushing out new growth around it. So there's new growth right towards the middle. If you come over, way over here, you can see it.
Right. There was kind of like right here through the middle was a branch, and now it's gone.
And, I'm sorry, we're getting attacked by mosquitoes a little bit. It has rained a lot lately, and so the mosquitoes are out in full force. So here is the new growth that has happened right near the leader that was lost.
Okay.
So we'll see how that does. I'm hoping it continues to do okay. It had a good bit of dieback. It could have been due to a freeze. All right.
And it was just these 2 that had the possible freeze.
So then if you back way up.
Okay, but let me get a close-up while we're here. Tell me what this is.
This is a Benny Shigigat. Benny Shigigat. Yeah, we should just trade. We should just trade. Okay, okay. We're gonna trade. Here you go. All right, Anna, what is this?
This is a Benny Shigetsu or possibly Aka Shigetsu. There's a debate. So,
Benny usually means red, though.
Benny means red.
And he's red.
Aka also means red.
In the year.
Just different types of red.
Not red now.
No, not currently, but it is super, super cool in the spring. If you guys want to go see our spring garden tour video like that, it's like way more spectacular at that time of the year. So this was a tree that was a backyard grower that we knew. We had bought a couple of other trees from him that were smaller, and this was in his yard, not this size, but this was in a pot in his backyard. And I was just like, oh, that's so pretty. And then, eventually we did end up buying it. I think it's gorgeous.
He actually helped bring it to us too.
He did.
It was really nice. That was Roger Bell. It was really nice.
There's actually a couple of leaves that have curled up on here. It could be partly because we had a drought earlier in June, and then we had a super wet July. So it's just really confusing for the trees. And it's kind of self-pruning a couple of branches out.
Oh yeah, you can see.
It's right up there. And one in there.
And again, it'll do this. Japanese maples will do this when the tree, the branch isn't getting enough sun. It'll naturally prune out that branch, which is partly how it gets its natural shape. That looks like, Japanese maples look similar.
Yeah. And so back over here, we have our viridis. It's either viridis or a waterfall.
Waterfall.
So this one turns yellow.
Viridis. I think it's the same thing almost.
Oh, this turns yellow in the fall, not orange. So it's whichever one does that. This has kind of stayed consistently this size. It kind of grew up to this size and kind of holding this size, and it's not really getting much bigger.
Right.
We did this planting here because we wanted kind of like a tall and a low, and these were here before the shed. So we kind of put the shed back there in relationship to how far it could be from the back property line and also the distance away from these trees that were already here, with consideration of that ramp. So that ramp for the shed is like super, super steep. It's because we didn't want it going out very far because we needed to be able to get around that ramp. It's way too steep. But it is what it is.
Well, and these are more hostas. I saw a deer over here the other day, and I think it got some of the hostas.
Well, finally,
these are
though, look,
painted.
hostas are in the ground, not in pots.
That's true.
That's a success.
Well,
Right
and we have
there.
the painted Japanese ferns here. One we still need to plant. The other ones are in there, and that's I think those are all painted. Oh, that's a ghost fern right here. This one here is a ghost fern. That's a Japanese painted fern, and that's a Japanese painted fern. One of the Japanese painted ferns might be a Godzilla variety, but I have lost track of which one is which.
They're very similar looking, but just big.
And then
more
here are
hostas.
more hostas.
All right, over in this island we have amber ghost and Jordan. And amber ghost is a cool reticulated leaf. This tree itself has kind of grown about like a foot this year, and I think so has Jordan. If you come in here, you can look at this leaf. It's a very cool, like paper parchment white, pinkish in the spring, and just again, like everything else, green in the summer. Over here is Jordan, more chartreuse in the spring. Right now, again, kind of just green and had really loaded with seeds. Check that out. Like the Jordan and summer gold usually have a ton of seeds.
Well, and here's the leaf difference between the two. We thought that they would go over each other in the spring. This is a really neat contrast. Right now, that's an okay contrast. And then we have hostas.
Yeah, and so these are orange marmalades right down here. I think we have a dancing queen over there, which is looking a little rough right now, but it's just summer. Everything kind of melts. And a couple of hostas that I haven't decided where they need to be, so I've just kind of, they're still in pots.
Well, we have these little buckets out right here, like the Home Depot bucket. That's just full of water, and we put little Dunkins in there to try to get rid of mosquitoes. It seems to be helping, but with all the rain lately, they can basically make...
They could be anywhere.
Yeah, they could be anywhere.
Yeah. So over here, we have Orange Dream, which is not very orange right now. Little small tiny leaves compared to everything else. And it's doing, okay, it looks a little crispy and sad right now, but this is good for this tree.
This is better than the years before, yeah.
Yeah, so it again was one of those in the graveyard type of trees and nursing it back to health.
Well, and here is, there's a ghost fern hidden amongst the
stilt grass.
Stilt grass.
So,
but back here is a nice fun hosta. I think that's another orange marmalade.
That's another orange marmalade, and I think basically they need more shade than
and look,
where I have them.
The rhododendrons.
Oh yeah, so we have
these are new.
So these are new since spring. So these weren't here in the spring. So these are rhododendrons. We got these up in what state, like Connecticut or somewhere?
Connecticut.
The north.
At it was a fun nursery too, Broken Arrow Nursery.
Oh yeah, so they're known for their like azaleas and rhododendrons, or just rhododendrons.
I think it's mostly, I don't know. They do their own custom stuff. Oh, it's mountain laurel.
Mountain laurel, that's what it is.
These are rhododendrons.
But these are rhododendrons, yep. So these are rhododendrons. The ones down there that I pointed out earlier on the other day were like these dark purple ones. And these are going to be like super cool, like bright pink and white.
And they change color over time,
yeah,
right?
They're more pink at the beginning and then turn to white. And
it's really fun.
They're really cool. Excited for next spring to show you these. These were very pretty and very vibrant. Normally I'm not a pink person, but these were super cool looking.
And then back here is another one, just so you guys can see. There's one more back there. Okay.
So this is a coral pink Japanese maple. Again, it's kind of, we've kind of clumped the ones together around the shed that are kind of struggling a little bit.
Well, the ones that need more shade and don't do as well here.
More shade, and they just, nice and open and airy is kind of nice. A lot of our other ones are really dense. So this is...
Well, here, wait, try with me. I got to show this.
Sure.
Hold on, try. By the way, we now have one off. So now the mosquitoes aren't bothering us as much. So guys, look at this. So if I get rid of this vine, there we go, vine's gone. Look at the magnolias. So these two, I don't know if y'all remember this, a few years, 2, 3 years, somebody correct me here, years ago, we planted both of these magnolias back here. We wanted to block the neighbor during the winter. During the summer, like this, you really can't see them. During the winter, you can, and that was part of the shed too, is it blocked them as well. So these guys, we got about 15 feet tall, but look, they're actually a little bit, especially this one, a little bit taller. I think this one is a bracken brown. I don't know what this one is.
And they were both kind of close to the similar size. The left one was taller, but the one on the right is planted a little bit uphill. But yeah,
they both are growing. This one has maybe about a foot of growth. This one has probably about 2 feet of growth, which is good for how much shade they're getting. They're getting a lot of shade and they're not truly established yet. So hopefully next year, what is it? First year, something creeps, second year, something, third year, it leaps. There you go. So that's next year.
Sleeps, creeps, sleeps. There you go.
So there you go. So
and also these are a nice dark green background to hopefully the brighter leaves of these.
Well, yeah, the coral pink and the bright pink here of the rhododendrons and the orange dream, they all get a kind of nice background because of these things.
And I'd much rather be looking at these cool trees than all that mess that's back there.
Well, and I do see vines every now and then I got to pull out. I have to be careful about the vines. Sometimes we do have some poison ivy, so you have to be mindful of making sure not to pull the wrong thing.
A couple more hostas. That hosta came with the tree.
This hosta came with a tree.
And then I planted these autumn ferns right here.
Autumn ferns. This is not an autumn fern. This is like a local fern, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Boxwood or something?
And then that's a poplar that I need to rip out of there.
Oh,
and some, that is also Virginia creeper.
Yes, this is Virginia creeper. If you see this, it's not poisonous or anything. Sometimes people think it looks kind of like poison ivy or something.
But it's got
poison oak.
leaves. It's not.
Well, poison oak is not too far off from looking like this, but this is just Virginia creeper. It will turn a bright orange in the fall. Some people actually like this in certain areas. Yeah. Here, it's, I don't know if it's invasive. It may be naturally here.
And I'll actually say the stilt grass in here is quite nice. It looks really pretty. I like it, but it's invasive and bad.
Unfortunately, the stilt grass will get 4 feet tall or so that's the only problem with it. Otherwise we do like it. But
and we have Orodono nishiki, and check out the variegation. Look, I found a leaf with variegation right away. This one right there.
Well, it's all at the edge.
I know, it's all at the new growth.
So we were talking about like trees over here that don't like to grow that we put here. This one goes nuts every year.
Well, and variegated trees are known for not very rapid growth, but this guy.
Here's a new growth. That's more than 2 feet, maybe right around 2 feet, maybe a little bit more in every direction.
So we were talking about maybe getting rid of this lower branch.
Yeah, we may air layer off some of these lower branches, a lot of them actually, next year, so that you could see through. We could even just prune it. I don't know anybody that wants a Orodono nishiki that doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to have the variegation everywhere instead of just the tips. But anyway, that way you can see back through to it, to the other trees behind. This is a dancing peacock, or a Coniferium Japanese maple. It has grown a whole bunch. It's put out, what would you say? This is about, again, nearly 2 feet of growth or so, especially over here and over here. This is a little bit, about 16 inches here. So it's growing pretty well. The nodes are pretty far apart on this kind of tree. Mm-hmm. It's never going to be super dense, but it's doing really, really well. We've talked about maybe moving this later in the fall, and this one as well, so we can see back more towards the corner of our property, because these trees are actually getting quite big. This is a Megitsu Japanese maple. So this is a Megitsu Japanese maple. It's similar to Coniferium. We kind of had them similar near each other just to see how they were different from each other. But you can see here the leaves get quite large.
Is this considered a full moon Japanese maple?
Maybe. I don't know. No, I mean, when I think full moon,
Jordan is full moon.
I don't know. Ashira Swarnam? I'm not sure.
So more lacy and then more solid leaves here. And this is our burn pile back here.
Burn pile, but let's go past the burn pile.
Okay.
So we were going to just use this as like for fires, but then we haven't had many fires this year. So this is a cereal seedling here. And again, it's pushed out growth too. Like this is all new growth here. That's about 2 feet.
You need sound effects.
It's getting quite large, quite fast. That's a Sengokaku air layer, this one here. And again, this one hasn't been doing well, but this year it looks like it is. It has, again, a little bit under 2 feet, about 16 inches of growth or so.
Yeah, you really don't notice these back here at all. And so it's sneaky. Like you come back here and you're like, oh, wow, that's grown like 5 feet.
And in the fall, Sengokaku will turn yellow, orangey colors, very vibrant. The cereal will turn very red in the fall. This is...
Well, I don't think these have enough sun to really turn their super vibrant colors. The one that are in more sun do a little bit.
That's true. We'll see. As they get bigger, I bet we'll notice it more. This is a Frank Hauser Camellia, which is doing great. This is probably our best looking one. We've done our best to protect it. It doesn't do well with really cold winters. So we get a little bit colder here than it wants.
But I think over here it must be sheltered.
I think this one's like Fireball. And it started out as a little twig.
Dragon Fireball?
Yeah, I think this is Fireball.
And then this guy's doing really well. And then we've got another one back there. So basically the whole property is lined with camellias.
Well, here, let me show you our twig.
Okay. Let me walk over here.
Okay. So this was the dogwood that we planted, and I said we might have planted a stick. We
Yeah.
planted a stick.
But then that one's not dead.
Well, that's a new one. That's why it's not dead.
No.
So this is one that we bought recently, and we planted it here. It nearly died due to the drought, even with watering, but with all the water, the rain we've had, it's made a pretty good comeback, which even has growth up here I'm pretty excited about.
Back up. So this is where we had the ukigumo Japanese maples, and we had them at this corner.
Right here and here.
And so the idea was that they were this light, bright, whitish contrast to the background. They just weren't doing that, so we decided that variegated dogwoods were the way to go.
Right. Well, we wanted something kind of tall here too, so these guys will hopefully grow enough to be tall. Right now we just got the one. They didn't have two that we really liked. This was from Broken Arrow Nursery. We'll see what we do there. We're just going to give that a second and think on it. We have more camellias.
Maybe one is okay.
Camellia. Oh, we have these guys back here, which I guess you could see it from here, from there. Here are the azaleas that we purchased that were $1 each or so.
Yeah. So those will get much bigger.
We have this, and we have this one here. So this is technically outside of our property too. Just don't tell the backyard neighbors, because we have woods 50 feet deep here. Nobody can see it, so we decided to put these. This will get nice and bushy. It'll get fairly large. Oh, you can see it's new growth versus old growth.
Yeah, it's normally not that bright green.
Oh, and here,
yep,
this is a magnolia I planted. So this was a magnolia air layer. It started out really small. I mean, it was maybe this tall or so, and now it's doubled in size.
And that tire was already there. We did not.
Oh yeah, guys,
this dispose of these tires.
Number one, not our property. Number two, yeah. So I put that there, not on our property, like the actual magnolia. Look, that's there just because I figured if it dies, nobody cares. But we'll keep on going. Why not put a good tree somewhere? What are these, Anna?
Those are not camellias. Those are
Sasanquas?
Sasanquas.
Sasanquas?
Having a hard time.
It's getting a little hotter. So here's the Sasanqua. This one's actually living, and I'll take it. This one looks like it's totally dead.
Well, and these, again, were like dollar plants in the...
That's right. We got them for $1. I tried to water them as much as I could, but I'm sure obviously I missed one.
And they were camellias just here as background plants. They weren't planted specifically because we love them. They were just kind of to create a screen.
Well, and the camellias you can see here, so these have been here for a while. You can see that they're doing just fine, whereas the Sasanquas that are more recently planted are not doing just fine.
But it totally looks like we pruned this to be like a little top right here, and that's the way that one is.
That's just how it is. Oh, this is a Japanese maple seedling. This is from Mr. Maple years ago. We were there in person, and this is just a seedling that they had, and it's gotten much bigger. I forget even the variety of the seedling anymore.
They said it was a variety of seedling from some specific thing, but it just looks like
it's a seedling, and we've just used it for blocking. There's another Sasanqua that's not doing the best. Here, I'll show you.
And
little mushrooms every now and then because we've had a lot of rain. Camellia. Oh, this is a bihu.
Let me back up.
Okay, we'll trade in a second anyway.
Yeah, I'm just way too close, so I can't even get a good idea of what's happening over here.
Okay, bihu Japanese maple. So this bihu, like we said, so the bihu tends to die back on us a lot. I thought about air layering it back here, but I just didn't get to it this year. I might do it again later. Might do it next year. Another Sasanqua behind it that we planted. It's doing okay. The majority of it's alive. Camellias. This is just
year. I was able to get in here and put all this mulch down along this path. This was originally mulched when we took down some trees, and then it turned to nothing, and so then I mulched this area over here, and now this area is freshly mulched again.
Well, and the mulch we're using our yard mix that we have and chip drop, so it's free mulch. This is another one of the rhododendrons that we purchased for Broken Arrow. It's kind of nice.
Yeah,
I like the leaf color too.
We had a fight with this one. It kept trying to be droopy.
It's tried to die multiple times.
To be fair, we did plant these in the early summer, which is not great, but they were not doing well in their pots, so they needed to get in the ground.
Well, maybe they can see that we have drip water going to it. We're having it run not that often. Right now with it raining, I don't have it running at all. Here, let's trade because we need to go back down there and then back up. Whoa. There's Anna.
Yeah.
What's this big tree on the left? Well, I guess there's a little tree. What's a little tree?
This
Yes.
is one of our other successful grafts. So this is
This is cemetery tree, right?
Huh?
Cemetery tree or graveyard
Yeah,
tree.
this is the cemetery tree, graveyard tree, whatever you want to call it. We've said this before in other videos, is that this is one that looked really cool in the shade in a graveyard, local graveyard that we could
Cemetery,
see
yeah,
at the
yeah.
cemetery. It's beautiful. It was red in the shade, and so we thought that that was lovely. And so we took a little snip off of one of the branches, and we successfully grafted this. We did not have very good success with grafts. It was basically the Timukiyama in this one that took.
Right, but it clearly is not staying red here.
It isn't. So maybe this is not a good spot for it.
Well, that's where it is.
But look how big it is. I mean, we had to put a tomato cage around it in previous years so we could see it and not accidentally step on it. So this is successful. This is pretty.
All right, and what's the big one behind you?
This is a Jordan. So this Jordan had a branch going way off this way, and that is where our air layer came from that was in the front yard that we showed you earlier.
Right, and we do have a video about that air layer if you want to see it.
And I really do think taking that air layer off really improved the shape of this tree. It's nice to start having some of these that are higher up and spreading out towards the top canopy. Maybe this might be another candidate.
Maybe.
We're going to go air layer crazy in the future. So
yeah, we will, probably next year.
So this is a pixie, pretty sure, pixie.
Yeah.
So this is a pixie. It is actually quite cool when you get up to it. It's multicolored right now. It's got this burgundy and green kind of, and it's very like layered and dense. I'll get my shadow right up here, especially like a lot of burgundy and green. Ooh, here too, look, more burgundy. A lot of spiders as well.
The spiders eat the mosquitoes though, so I'm okay with it.
So initially I was thinking of possibly moving this because it was like really like a hard turn around the tree, but I'm thinking maybe this might be the path now, right here. So we don't need to move that tree after all. Just
okay.
Right through here.
Oh, and here, let me look at this Jordan a little closer just to show. So here's this Jordan, and that's another Jordan in the background through there. Just so you guys can see the leaves. And it has, I don't know, 6 inches of growth in most areas. And then down here, this branch, it's already healed over. That's where we took the air layer off, just so you can see it. And what's this big one right here?
This is our summer gold. It's like the singular one. We have multiple summer golds. So
yeah, I'm gonna go around to the sun side.
And it is so much more yellow than Jordan right now. It's crazy. And even then, this one isn't as chartreuse as the other one that's way over there.
Yeah, there's one way over there.
So
that's more yellow.
This one is in more shade than that one, and it's less yellow.
It gets about 4 or 5 hours of sun here direct.
Pretty bright comparatively to everything else. So over here, we have 2 of them, are these pines, which is right there and right there, and they are more of a blue-green.
It's a Gimborn's ideal.
Mm-hmm. So that's purposeful here because we wanted the contrast against the yellow chartreuse of the summer gold, and to have this like blue and a different leaf texture, not have everything being Japanese maples.
And what's this big Japanese maple you just skipped by? This one right here.
Oh, this is Jarmaine's Gyration.
And this one was from Mr. Maple originally, years ago. Again, this was an in-person one that we just happened to be there.
So Jarmaine's Gyration, the name of it, it means it's gyration. It's just naturally undulating and going back and forth, and it really is.
Well, here, let me show you the structure,
we
guys.
We did not train it to do any of this shape whatsoever, and it's just doing it naturally. It's really pretty.
Well, and the thing that one of the brothers told us, I forget who one, was it Matt, maybe?
I don't know, it's been like 7 years or
what he told us about it was, you know, it'll look older quicker. So it'll look like it's a 30-year-old tree after like 5 or 10 years. And it certainly does. So we've had it, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years now, maybe more.
Well, honestly, looking at it from this angle, this may have been the front. But when I'm looking at it from our back porch, it's kind of a blob. So we might consider doing some pruning just so we can see the inner structure a little bit better. It's doing it already right here, up here. It's just this lower skirt.
It may be about time.
It might be about time.
But it really has done quite well. And if we look at it compared to
this cool curve right in here,
compared to the viridis that we showed earlier just a little bit ago, this one is probably double the size of the viridis, and it is not nearly as old. The viridis is our oldest one.
Yeah.
The viridis is, I don't know, 14 years old, and this one's probably maybe 8 or so, and it's definitely bigger.
pixie or summer gold?
That's a
I mean,
pixie.
not summer gold. Pixie or purple ghost?
Pixie.
So another pixie. So a pixie over there, pixie over here, and then we do have another pixie farther.
Well, let me see this pixie. It looks mostly green to my eyes.
So this is in a little bit more sun, and notice here, like just barely, we're not very far from the other one, and we're getting some crispy leaves comparatively, and less maroon.
This one is one that's not getting water though. And then here's another Megitsu. So this Megitsu here, Anna, go stand next to Megitsu so we can see how big it is. Originally when we planted these, both Megitsus got eaten partially by a deer. But there you go, there's the size of the Megitsu.
Really like...
Oh, put your hand next to one of the, I feel like the leaves are a little bit bigger on this Megitsu. And the leaves seem to be a little bit different. So guys, if you want to tell us which one is the correct one.
Yeah, here's down here too.
I feel like the other one's more correct.
I don't know, they're different. They're both labeled as Megitsu, but they clearly are different from each other. So.
Well, and this one is also getting a little bit of scorch on the leaves.
Yeah,
but that doesn't seem to be bothering it too much. And it has, I don't know, 8, 12, oh, even right here, like this branch here.
Wow.
That branch has a whole bunch of growth, like maybe.
Well, and over here, this is a little bit of scorch, but I think this is new growth, new summer growth, because this looks very tender, and it's got some rose color to the tips of these leaves right here. And so this probably just got fried because it was a little tender.
Okay, let's continue on.
Okay, so Oculus Draconis. Look how bright and white. So this was, again, a dumpster find. Not really dumpster, but you know, the graveyard.
The boneyard graveyard.
Yeah, like it was on its way out. They were struggling.
I think we got it, here, stand next to it. I think we got it for $10 or something.
We got 2 of these at the same time. This one and the one that's over there. Right now, they are looking a bit different from each other. This one's way more white and creamy. The other one, not so much. This one, we finally did come in here and prune off the dead branches that it had from the beginning. So it cleaned it up a lot. It struggled the first couple of years we had it here. It barely had any needles. And so we were leaving as much stuff as possible.
Let me come see one of these needles too.
So we're leaving as much foliage as possible without pruning it.
Because it looks like it's going to die.
Yeah, it needed to get as much chlorophyll as possible.
Oh, and here's another rhododendron right here, which I have to say again, looks like we need to water it. It's a little bit wilty. This is one that's really been struggling with the location, but it should be plenty of sun.
Hoopla, rhododendron.
Yeah, it should be able to tolerate the sun. It's only, I don't know, right here.
Was this the lavender one?
Yes, probably. It's 4 to 6 hours of sun here. It should be able to tolerate it. The tree gets a little bit more up here. That one probably gets about 8 hours of sun where it is, maybe even 9.
Well, and then back here we have our row of Patti Faye deodars.
Which you guys, look how much they've grown.
Wow, look
at this.
Yeah.
They were not as tall as us.
Yeah.
They were probably, what, chest height or so before. And look at that. Here, let me come see the growth up close. Here, guys, look, this is as blue as we get here. And that's very exciting.
Look that down the line.
Oh, and Anna wants me to look down the line. Looking down the line.
Sorry about the weeds, guys.
Of Patti Faye's. And behind the Patti Faye's are deodars, are the, Anna, you got to help me out. I'm getting hot.
Yeah.
Cryptomeria.
Heat makes it really difficult.
They are Sugi. They are Yoshino Cryptomeria.
Yoshino Sugi.
And they are growing pretty well. I mean, they're like 15 feet taller now or so.
Get that
maybe 12. They're growing. There's a total muscadine vine that has grown in there over the last couple of weeks with all the rain. All right, what are you looking at, Anna?
Shishigashira. Oh, and a shell from a bug. So this is a Shishigashira. This is another one that was so tiny that we had to put a tomato cage around so we didn't step on it. And now look how big it is. I'm a little downhill, but that's pretty good progress. And Shishigashira is very similar in some people's mind to the guy in the front.
The Mikao Yatsubusa.
Mikao Yatsubusa. Sorry, it's hot. My brain is fried.
Well, here, let's trade for a second.
Cool, crinkly. Here, come over here for a second.
Okay.
Look, the leaves are just this. They look dry. They're not, but they just look crinkly and dry. But this is the way this guy looks, all crinkly and craggy and dense. So
yeah.
You want to trade?
Sure. I'm going to try to go really fast because we are in the sun now.
Oh, sun.
So we're going to try to go really quick.
All right.
This is another Siryu Japanese maple. It is one of the fastest growing Japanese maples out there.
Lace leaf and upright.
Sengokaku would give it a run for its money. But so this is a Siryu. Yeah, it's an upright lace leaf. It is a blue-green color, which is definitely true right now. Here, let me try to put it in the sun a
Can't
little.
even see because it's so bright. All right, there you go.
So it grows feet a year, or can. This one I can see up there towards the top. It's grown about 2 feet or so, but it's growing out in every direction. And over here, when we say feet a year, this is what I really mean. This is new growth right here. So this is about 3 feet, maybe a little bit more
Silly.
of growth here. And this is one of the branches we were talking about air layering off. Don't mind the potato vine.
Yeah, these at the bottom, I think we can.
So we are either prune it off or air layer it off. So we might take off several of them. Maybe leave this one. But
all right, let's speed this thing up. It's getting super hot.
Okay, this is. Oh no.
Pixie?
It's not.
Is it a purple ghost? Or
Nope.
is it a Tom Blee's Red Sentinel?
Nope.
Or it is a Skeeter's Broom?
Skeeter's Broom.
Yeah, there we are.
This is a Skeeter's Broom. All right, guys. So this is a Skeeter's Broom. This is usually our most red Skeeter's Broom.
It actually held the red a bit longer. This one in this particular spot.
Yeah.
Back here.
Here, let me try showing. Here's like this.
It's kind of brassy looking right now.
Yeah, it's not as red. It does have little red spots like in here, but that's about it. Okay, so this is our Reuben Japanese maple. I haven't seen it. Not many people have it as far as I can tell, but it's done pretty well. It's grown, this year it hasn't grown much, maybe only a few inches, 6 inches or so, which is fine. It's kind of near, I would like it to stay about this size. But anyway, it's a very salmony pink in the spring, and you can see right now it's just a green. This is pseudolarix. So this is a false larch. It's the only kind we can have here. Regular larches, it is too humid for them here and they will die.
And they hate our clay soil.
And they do hate our clay soil, whereas pseudolarix likes clay soil. Now this one's a little bit more chartreuse than it should be. I think it should be a little bit more of a blue-green, so we probably have a little imbalance of minerals in the soil. But it's doing okay. It's growing a few inches. I would like to see it grow more. Normally these can grow a few feet in a year.
Yeah, but it's kind of nice if even if it stays that size, that's just fine.
Yeah, it is just
really
fine if it
big
stays
and
the size.
it's kind of nice scale for everything.
So we have more Patti Fays here. Oh, this is a new one.
Yeah, who's that?
This is a Burke's red variegated Japanese pine. I think it's a red pine.
Is it also considered an Oculus Draconis or no?
No, it's its own thing.
Okay.
It's a Burke's red variegated. So when we planted it, I think we stunted its needle growth. It kind of just stopped. The needles should be bigger than this.
Oh yeah.
And they're all kind of twisted because it grows upwards depending on.
Oh, and we had it laying back in our vehicle, and so it's kind of bendy because it wanted to go upright, and it sat in there for a couple of days.
But it seems to be doing well. I'm very happy with that. I fully expect it to lose all its needles in the winter. They said one of the things about this in the description is that the first few years you have it planted, it may lose all its needles every winter.
Just while it's adjusting.
This is orange, right? Oh no, let me see here. Yeah, Orangiola. So this is an Orangiola. It's supposed to stay orange throughout the summer. This gets, I mean, we have like 11 hours of sun here. We couldn't get more sun on this, like direct sun. And to my eyes, this thing is green.
It is.
And so I think it has to do with our humidity. Maybe if you're in a cooler climate, it will stay more orange. But for us, this just turns kind of green. We've thought about even selling it or something. Like we're not
it's
totally
kind of
impressed.
disappointing, but sometimes some things take a little bit of time to acclimate and then they start doing their thing. So
this is a gold rush dawn redwood, metasequoia. It'll get huge eventually. Right now it's just doing okay here. It's getting tons of sun.
And there's another one over there. Oculus Draconis, number 2.
Oh, Oculus Draconis.
Or number 3, because I guess.
Just to make sure I point out, there's a pixie over there and there is a sky tower ginkgo behind it. It's just kind of doing its own thing right now.
And regular deodar.
Okay, Oculus Draconis number 2. So this is Oculus Draconis. It is a Japanese red pine. Super, super pretty. When you get closer, you can definitely see the variegation. But this one is nowhere near as white as the other one.
Let's see if I can pan back over.
Maybe you can.
Yeah, there he is. So that one and this one they were purchased at the same time. Labeled the same, so this one's just not nearly as white. It could be the location, they could be different.
I mean, but when you get close to it, you can easily tell that this is happening. Like it does have the variegation. It's really, really easy to tell. I think it just has less of the variegation.
Yeah, and this one was healthier than the other one initially.
Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, this one is looking better than the other one.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So this is a purple ghost Japanese maple, which keeps growing. This gets, I mean, 10 to 12 hours of direct sun every day.
I'm really surprised how fast this one, it must love this spot. This one is super purple in the spring. It really loves it, and it's huge.
Well, and it's grown 6 or 8 inches in every direction, maybe up towards the top more than a foot. In some areas like this right here, it's about, I don't know, 16, 18 inches. It's definitely green now. This is just what happens in our area again, but it's a really wonderful tree.
All right, tell me about deodars.
So we have deodars here that we've had for a while, and they're growing, doing fine. These are just regular variety deodars. And then we have the camellias that have tried to die. So we watered them. We have watering system going to them.
Well, now we didn't when we were having the drought. Then we realized there was a drought, and then by the time you realize there's a drought, it's a little too late.
So some of these died.
Yeah.
So this guy lived, but over here, let me show you.
And these are pink perfections.
Pink perfection camellias. If we go through here, though, you can pretty quickly tell these two.
Oh yeah.
These two are dead. There's not much we can do about them.
I think this is a bad spot. Everything dies that we put back here. So
yeah, I think we're just going to stop trying to plant stuff here. This seemed to live though, so this one tried to die, and it looks like it's making a comeback. So I'm going to just give it a season and see what it does.
And then that one's totally dead too.
And then we have another one over here that definitely died. This one I might either replace this one with something else here, or I might just let that one behind it become the main one that's here. I mean, it would do the same thing. They're not far off in size.
The idea is have just like this whole glorious area of pink perfections. They should all bloom at the same time together, and it'll be awesome.
Right. So they're doing okay. Some of them lived, some of them died. Here, we passed the summer gold.
Yep, there it is.
So this is the summer gold that's in more sun. So this one is definitely by far more yellow than the other one. You can see it back there in the distance. There's another one over there.
Well, this was a mail order one from like Whitman Farms, I believe.
No. We've never gotten things from them. We've heard great things about them.
Where did this come from?
This was, oh, I've forgotten. It was just,
I don't know. I didn't write it on there.
Don't know anymore. But anyway, it was like $30. It was small. It was a little 1 gallon. And this has come up to this size. I will say that this is growing slower than our other, whatever these are.
Well, it's not fair comparison right now because this one is in full sun and the one way back there is in shade, so you really can't see the color difference.
But these two are the same age, that one back there and this one here. And you can see that one's about double the size of this one. And this one is just in so much sun. Maybe that's what's keeping it from growing too much. But it is growing about 6 inches in most directions.
I mean, they didn't start off their lives in these spots.
Here's our other geisha gone wild. So this is another geisha gone wild. This is in a lot more sun than the other one.
Yeah, it's got a lot of...
and you can see it's new growth versus old growth. You can see like it's got some scorch here. But honestly, it's not burning too much.
And this one stays more magenta than the other. The other gets that dusty rose color, and this stays longer and more magenta.
And it tends to not grow that much, and it tends to have dieback. So we have maybe about 6 or 7 inches of growth in some areas here, but most of it hasn't grown much.
All right, trade with me real fast.
Okay, trading.
Just because we're winding this thing down.
All right. What's this here, Anna?
This is a Tamukiyama right here. So the idea with this Tamukiyama in this particular spot is we wanted a red over here. And so this, so far, is usually the best we have for our area for red, or so we thought at the time. So this one we bought, it was pretty much this height, but all of the branches were pruned in for shipping. And so we wanted something that already had the height on it, so that wasn't just like a low weeper. So this one is already way up there. We don't have to stake it or anything. It was already done. And then we're like, all these branches will come in and hopefully it'll be this.
And they are coming in. You can see here, grab one of those branches like right there and just show like that length on it is, it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty chopped when we bought it. So the idea is we had a red over here. It's not that successful. It is a little red in the spring, but maybe it'll acclimate and it'll hold on to its red.
What's this big guy?
This is a gold rush John redwood, just like that one over there. Oh, there's a cone.
Oh, it's got a cone. Okay.
Look, it's got a cone.
We'll come see the cone.
There's a cone.
Oh.
Super cool. So our gold rush John redwood over there. This one was planted a year before that one, and also we gave this some water. And so it shot up in that first year that we gave it some water. And now that we're not watering anymore, it's kind of stabilized and it's not really growing too much.
Right, and all these did get some water
This
during
I think
the
is
drought.
a super dry area back here, and it's slopey.
Yeah.
So it's dry.
Well,
because
and
I
that's
think
a, in the middle there is still the Sengokaku that's quite large.
And we had to cut out the middle. The middle was just dying back. We moved the other two Sengokakus that we had on either side because they were just struggling. And so we moved those to the front. Those are the ones that were in that trio.
Here's another Patti Faye deodar. And you can see how much this has grown. This is probably one of the biggest we had, but now it's really big.
This is where we had some Feelin Sunnies, and we moved them around for different reasons. That's
the
a Feelin Sunny deodar over here. It should be more yellow than a regular deodar, whereas the Patti Faye is more blue. And it does have a little bit of these yellow new growth tips. Yellow comparatively. Behind me is an orange flame. Orange flame?
I think so.
Orange flame. So orange flame, that was orange dream back over there. This is orange flame. They look nothing like each other. This one grows almost like it's a seedling. I almost thought it was a seedling because of how rapidly it grows, and it's not very orange.
No, but we're totally happy with it because it's right in the way of a house back there, so that's great.
But the idea was that this Siryu would be fire engine red in the fall with the orange of the orange flame and the yellow of the Sengokaku. They don't do that all together
at the same time.
Unfortunately.
Well, we do have the blue of the Patti Faye, though.
We do. But yeah, the idea was that they would all do that.
Guys, look at the size of the Siryu, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's huge. So this Siryu is, I guess it's only about 15 feet tall. It's just really, really wide, but it's growing rapidly. All right, we're almost finished.
Yeah, and then there's another Sengokaku back there, and that's a Tubbs. No,
that's Skeeter's broom.
Skeeter's broom.
So here, we'll go look at all these. So this is, again, this is Feelin Sunny deodar, which by the summer, it kind of just looks normal. You kind of lose all that yellow variegation. Here is the Skeeter's broom, which is kind of a mixture of reddish and green.
And quite to be honest, that is just there because we didn't know where to put it, and we just kind of went there, and we thought another red back here would be nice.
This is the Sengokaku. This might be an air layer that we moved here. I can't remember. I think this one was an air layer that we moved from over there.
Yeah.
And then another Feelin Sunny deodar, and then Cryptomeria.
Yeah, so come back over here with me and just look at the view of these back planter beds over here.
Sure. You just want me to look back that way?
Yeah, just look that way, kind of like for...
Okay, so Anna wants me... We do have a few trees trying to come up in here that just need to be taken out that aren't what we want. Well, right now it's all dark. It's kind of hard to see.
Well, there's some stuff in the sun.
Okay guys, so overall, this has been a pretty good year. We've had a few losses there. We had some camellias losses. We had
those are reasonable because they were freshly planted, and some struggles, and those were also new.
Well, we had a bit of a drought, but now things seem to be coming in. We're looking forward to it. I don't know what this fall will be like because normally it has to do with your rainfall in the year of how good it is.
It's been so weird, so it'll be a surprise.
So thanks for watching, really appreciate it. We'll come back with a fall tour later. We also now have a jointer that got some water on it and now doesn't look brand new anymore, so I'm super sad about that, but it still works.
It could have been worse. The flood was really not that bad.
It wasn't that bad. The whole garage flooded. So anyway, so that's done though. So we have workbenches to build, we have windows to build, we have doors to build, we have a dining table to build. So we have a lot of builds coming forward that are going to be more woodworking. Just be ready for that. And then down the road, we may have more carpentry coming where we're considering additions, but that may be a while.
And as always, the retaining wall that's actively falling apart. We'll see.
So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, bye.